Okay, guys, this is audio because I'm getting ready to go to bed. Tonight I watched the Prime Video. Amazon has Prime, and if you pay a small subscription per month, you can watch movies with Amazon Prime. And not only that, but you can get whatever you order within a few days, usually, if it's Prime eligible, which is really good when you need something fairly quickly. So I was watching on Prime Video the Emmett Till story. It's a true story. It's deep. It is heavy. I bawled my eyes out at certain parts. This happened in Mississippi. He is a person of color, and there were some things that ensued that he didn't know any better. He was only 14. And he thought it was harmless, and it resulted in a tragedy regarding him. And for people who don't know the story, I will, encourage you to watch it. Uh, it's so shocking that people can be so filled with hatred because of the color of someone's skin. And people of today don't understand, nor do they realize that this continues to this day. And he's from Chicago, but he was visiting Mississippi, and nobody's really shocked that this happened in Mississippi. And I got news for you. There's still those types of people in Mississippi to this day. It may not be as blatant as it was back then, but the hatred still prevails. I don't know what the hell is wrong with Mississippi. But then again, I don't know what's wrong with Missouri either, because Missouri has those issues as well. And I have dealt with it time and time and time again. I'm not from here, thank God. I will never claim Missouri as my home. I am from the East Coast. I was born and raised, born in upstate New York, close to the Canadian border. And that is where I am from, the East Coast. I lived in New York. I lived in Connecticut. So I'm from the East Coast, and I will never claim this area. And when you see the hatred I experienced here, you see why. And I'm not from here. I'm not from here. I wasn't born and raised here. So thank God I'm not from here. But I have dealt with that type of, not to that extent, obviously, but, snotty attitudes, waitresses that don't really want to wait on you. And there was no other customer in the restaurant, and she served me once and then disappeared. This was in Warrensburg, Missouri, and I don't give a shit. I'm going there. Warrensburg, Missouri has a serious problem with people of color. There are so many circumstances that I have dealt with that I'd have to write them all down and try to do the best I can to remember them all, because there were so many where white people have a real issue with something that brown people have absolutely zero control over. No one can control the color of their skin. And I guess nobody educated them about that. So they're quite ignorant about that situation. They don't understand that you can't choose the color. They don't get that. But studies have shown, which doesn't surprise me, studies have shown that racism is also connected to narcissism. Okay, which makes a lot of sense, because you're trying to destroy somebody, which is what narcissists do. They do everything they can to destroy as many people as they can. And in the situation or case of a narcissistic racist, it's even worse, because there's no limit to how far they will go. It's like the hatred is in their bloodstream. It's in their DNA. I have never been like that. I will never be like that. I judge people by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. It makes no sense to judge someone by the outward appearance that they have, again, no control over. It just baffles me. But narcissism baffles me too because, studies have shown that that is hereditary, that that is environmental, and it could also, and or it could be, trauma experienced in childhood or overindulgence in childhood. Kissing your child's behind can cause them to have mental illness. It can cause them to become a narcissist. And experts have shown proof through imaging, special imaging of the brain, that narcissism can be seen in the brain, which I did a video about that. But anyway, move right along. It's a picture of a brain on a thumbnail, and it explains through studies from experts who witnessed with their own eyes damage to the brain of narcissistic people. So that explains the hatred and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I've dealt with that crap here in Missouri. When I was with my husband, who was in the Air Force, we were stationed in Biloxi, Mississippi. There was only one incident there where he was walking to school, his technical school, because we didn't have a car at the time, and a truck full of white males, can't call them men because real men don't do this, a truck full of white males decided to call him the N-word and take off in their little truck. So nobody's surprised. It's Mississippi. Of course, you're going to have some kind of incident. But like I said, Missouri isn't really much better. Warrensburg is especially hateful. I couldn't get a job there for the longest time. They don't want brown people in their funky ass company. So I had to, when I finally got a job, I had to commute back and forth from silly ass Warrensburg all the way to Independence, Missouri. And I worked out there for a while, and I also worked in Lee Summit as well, which is, both of those are suburbs of Kansas City. Because I couldn't get hired in Warrensburg. Warrensburg is really, really hateful. It's impossible to make friends there. It's a college/military town. Most people have somebody that they're, either involved with, or, they have their own circle of friends and you are not invited. I worked for, and I'm going to drop names because it's true. It's what happened. I'm not making this shit up. I was also working for Johnson County Ambulance Service, which is right outside, excuse me, right outside of Warrensburg. It's like kind of like a little bit outside the city limits. One of them is. And those individuals couldn't stand me. My instructor was cool. I was an EMT. My instructor was cool. But I went to school with some racist motherfuckers. Okay? We just gonna keep it real today. The hatred and the pissy attitudes. And wow. I used to work there, but I don't flourish and blossom in an environment that's hateful. I just don't. My brain shuts down. I shut down. I just don't do well, especially in a professional setting where you want to rip into people and you can't because it's a professional setting. Then they feel justified in treating you like shit. So I volunteered there after I no longer worked there because, like I said, and I did not get paid to volunteer there. And they still had attitude. I chose to work with certain people because other people could not stand my color. It just makes them want to go in the back room and puke their guts out. Like I said, Missouri has problems. Warrensburg has problems. I wasn't the only person who was treated like shit over there. One of the guys is a paramedic and he is a brown person. He's married to a white lady who's real sweet. He's a pastor and, she's obviously first lady and that kind of thing. And she and I were in the same support group for people with fibromyalgia. Nobody showed up that night for our support group. Nobody's surprised by that. People can't commit to anything anymore. She and I do commit because that's just what mature people do. And I said to her, I don't know why I'm saying this to you. And I told her how I was being treated over there because nobody showed up. So I might as well just spill my guts. And she said, oh, he gets treated that way too. And I said, but he's a paramedic. She said, he gets treated that way too. I said, you're kidding me. She said, no. So even though he was trained and licensed like I was, but I was an EMT, he was a paramedic, he was still treated like the scum of the earth because he's the wrong color. Okay. It's really sad because some people that I admired because they were so skilled at what they did, once I found out that they were just snotty ass racist motherfuckers, I no longer had, obviously, I had zero respect for them after that. You admire somebody and you might be admiring the wrong person because they hate you. Okay? They hate you. Now, I wished that I had worked in an area that maybe I should have, I don't know, you start thinking maybe I should have worked for an ambulance service that was, if you work in a larger city, you're going to have more diversity and hopefully less asinine racism because that doesn't really benefit anybody. And, I don't know. It's just small towns can have small-minded people in them. There were so many incidents. I can't even, I can't even go into all of the hate that I've dealt with in Missouri. And yes, a couple of times I went to a restaurant and the waitress really didn't want to be bothered. Who told you when you got hired at the restaurant? And I'm going to use common sense, so please don't be offended. But who told you when you got hired at a restaurant that all your customers were going to be white? You a dumb bitch. Anyway, moving right along. So anyway, lots of hatred here. It has gotten better over the years. But like I said, small towns can have small-minded people in them. I'm not saying large cities don't have hate and racism. They do, which is stupid because larger cities are very diverse 9 times out of 10. So it's just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane how people act and how they behave. So immature and so filled with hate. And then you'll have multiple generations, and I call them generational curses. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. All these multiple generations where they learn hate, and their kids learn hate, and their kids learn hate, and their kids learn hate. And it's like, wow, really? So, wow. I'm going to go into this quick incident because it's like bugging the shit out of me. So, long story short, I was working as a security officer for the mall in Kansas City area, and I was driving the security vehicle with the big ass name sprawled on the side of the vehicle. I'm wearing their uniform, and I'm carrying a walkie-talkie, whatever you call it. And so my bank was in Warrensburg. They didn't give a shit what color I was. Thank you for them. Central Missouri Credit Union. Y'all have always treated me with respect in Warrensburg, Missouri. Shout out to you. None of y'all care what color because everybody's money is the same color and y'all never treated me any different. Thank you. Kudos to every single one of y'all. I love y'all. They didn't give a damn about my color. Some people are mature that way and not filled with hatred. Anyway, so my check with my company they had a account with Mercantile Bank, which was right across the street, or not across the street. It was across the parking lot at Independence Center, which is in Independence, Missouri. It's a mall. Mercantile, I don't know if it's still there, but it was right across the parking lot. So I go in there every 2 weeks. I went in there to cash my check. I never had a beef with it because my company had an account with them. So obviously, if I am an employee with this company and their check is good, there shouldn't be a fucking issue. Anyway, so I go in there like always, right? To cash my check. And the bitch that worked in there had the nerve, the balls, to come over there and say the teller was trying to cash my check while the manager didn't want me to cash a check because I guess I stole the security vehicle and I'm wearing the security uniform because I stole that too. And I guess the walkie-talkie, I stole that too. Because if you gonna steal, you got to steal the whole shebab. You got to go do the whole thing. And I don't have enough sense to leave the area that I stole from. So I'm driving this stolen vehicle, apparently. Stupid ass. Anyway, let me calm down. So I was trying to cash my check, and the manager, who is ignorant as fuck, she comes over there and says, "You need to bring your driver's license next time you come in here," or not a different form of ID or something. And I said, "Why do I need to do that when I have my corporate ID, which has the same information on it?" And she looked at the teller like, "Oh, what do I say now?" What she really needed to say was the fucking truth and just say, "We don't like your kind up in here." Listen, I'm not new to Missouri. I know how y'all operate. That's what I wanted to say. She looked at the teller like she swallowed a lizard, like, "Ugh, what do I do?" And she said, "Well, you just need to bring it." So anyway, 2 weeks later, I forgot to bring my driver's license because I never had to do it before. For months and months and months, I never had to do it until this bitch decided to feel herself and get on her high horse. Anyway, so my coworker was with me and she started her shit again. "Didn't I tell you the last time to bring your driver's license?" And I said, "Why will you cash for my coworkers, but you won't cash for me?" And she didn't know what to say to that. And my coworker was like, he goes, "Just get your driver's license." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I went ahead, I cashed my check, and I jumped in her ass and I pointed my finger at her and I said, "If I was white, you never would have questioned me." And she said, "Yes, I would have." I said, "No, you would not have." And she didn't say another word, which is probably good for her because I don't need to whoop her ass in the middle of the motherfucking bank, get arrested in my security uniform. I don't need to do that. Bash her head into the wall until some sense clicks in. I don't need to be doing all that. So it's a good thing that she shut her fucking mouth. You get to the point where you're sick and damn tired of it. You get sick and god dang tired. And you don't even realize. I'm going to tell you the other incident real quick. And then I'm going to get off here. You don't realize that the rage is in there. The rage is in your toes and it climbs all the way up your body when somebody tests you that way. And you don't even know that that's there until you've been tested. Those of you who have, or you're a person of color, you know what I'm talking about. You've been through it. So I was a volunteer at the Whiteman Air Force Base Hospital, which is no longer a hospital. It is a clinic now. But I was helping deliver babies. I was working in the medical surgical unit, and I was also working in the ER when we didn't have any patients upstairs. Anyway, long story short, dude who's active duty military, I'm a civilian, he's active duty. He said, "I need you to do such and such." I said, "Okay, let me just go ahead and jot some notes in the patient's chart." Well, this fool is from Alabama. Need I say more? He yells at the top of his lungs in front of God and everybody, patients, doctor, he don't give a shit. "As a Red Cross worker, when I tell you to do something, you will do it." And let me tell you, honey, honey, the rage went from my toes all the way up my body with lightning speed. I jumped out of my chair. The chair had wheels on it. When I jumped up so fast that the back of my legs hit the chair, and that chair went flying to the back of the room. And I said, in a very deep voice, which means I'm close to punching you in your mouth, I said, I don't know who in the hell you think you talking to like that. And he didn't say another word, which is real good because I don't need to whoop his ass on the Air Force Base and go to jail for that. He's from Alabama, like I said. There you go. Ignorant ass. Ignorant. Fuck. The doctor did not correct him or correct me or anything because he knew that Alabama was dead wrong. Okay? He knew he was dead wrong. I reported him to his supervisor the next day, and he defended him. He's one of my best workers. I said, I don't care if he's one of your best workers or not. What he did was out of line. You don't treat people like that, and you don't talk to people like that. Well, this, that, and the other, defend. I said, well, naturally, you're going to defend him because he's active duty military and I'm not. That doesn't have anything to do with it. I said, that has everything to do with it. So, like I said, couldn't get hired in Warrensburg. Couldn't get hired. I had to commute on 2 different occasions because larger cities usually have a little bit more sense. They are used to seeing brown people. It doesn't make them pass out or anything. There was a white lady. I will go there quickly and then I'm going to hop off. There was a white lady who fell out in the parking lot, and I have medical background, so I wanted to help her and take her pulse and, give basic whatever, vitals and whatnot. And she didn't want me touching her. She said, I don't need your help. I'm not laid out on the ground. She's laid on the goddamn ground. So who's at a bigger disadvantage? Anyway, my number was 105 at the time. And I got on my radio and I said 105 is 10-8. And that basically means I'm done with this situation right here. So I guess my coworkers helped her because I was out. I'm going to get back in the security vehicle and I'm going to do what I need to do and I'm going to mind my damn business. Bitch, you the one laying on the ground, not me. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. What the fuck is wrong with people? You wonder why I can't stand people. You wonder why I love animals. Because they're more intelligent than people. They don't give a rat's ass what color you are. If you are purple, green, yellow, orange, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit and they don't give a goddamn shit. If you water them, feed them, potty them, and love on them, they're happy. They don't care about your religion. They don't care about your color. They don't give a rat's ass. So, anyway, if you get a chance to watch, I think it's called Till. The name of the movie is called Till. And it's the Emmett Till story. True story. Devastating. Just, wow. Anyway, much love to y'all.